in Britain. He didn't need to say that he talk about foot and mouth disease. Ken had it.
Okay, on the subject of Obama, you mentioned this. I mean, is Obama a good thing, or is he just a good-looking guy who makes decent speeches? Do we know yet? Anyone?
I saw Obama speak in 2004 in Philadelphia, and he was campaigning for his own Senate seat at that time, and he was also helping a Philadelphian who was running for the Democratic seat. And I watched him speak, and I felt, this man, we're talking about 2004, that's 5 years ago, I said to my sister, this man has such a belief in the fact that things can get better. And even Republicans, I mean, the chairman of Republicans abroad was Susan Eisenhower, and the co-chairman was Julie Nixon. And he was even inspiring people from the other side. He had done a great deal of work in the community in Illinois, and there was a sincerity about him. And I don't think he's a flash in the pan. He's got a lot of work to do, and it's just the beginning.
Anyone else on this?
Yeah.
Jane?
I mean, when he was elected, and he made that speech, I know that I was in tears at the time. I mean, and I think this is what large numbers of us felt. We'd had Bush for 8 years, one of the most horrendous presidents, and suddenly there was this massive hope, the hope of a young man.
I sense a but coming along.
Well, it is a but, because as soon as he stands there at the inauguration, the one thing he ends up saying is that he adopts Afghanistan as his war. And I think that's what we've seen in the last 11 months, is we've watched him not just back off some of the things he was saying about torture or about the CIA or other things, but it's a fact that he's now decided that the Americans and Britain and NATO and anyone else who can be dragged into it are going to be stuck inside Afghanistan, even though he says they're going to be leaving in a year or two. It is not true. They are going to be there for a long period.
But as women, do you and I not feel that progress has been made for Afghan women? I mean, the most oppressed women in the world.
I certainly don't.
Absolutely.
I certainly don't.
Just to add on her point, with Obama, the problem is he talks and he talks and he talks, like Gordon Brown had once mentioned as well. There are more drone attacks happening in Pakistan. There are more people getting abducted and sending back to Guantanamo Bay, which he promised he's going to close down. There are more Blackwater under the name of Z are operating in Pakistan. So we got more of the same. For Pakistanis, nothing has changed. There is no hope.
Remember, he is also leading the United States. And I will tell you, because I'm American and I'm basically, that's where my family is.
Bush.
He is doing wonderful things for people on benefit, unlike here, where they're talking about lowering benefit. He's doing wonderful things for people who need health care, and his health care bill may be passed, which would be one of the greatest achievements since Roosevelt and the New Deal. So he is really plowing on, and he's helping the American people, which actually, in a way, I suppose you have to say, is still his first priority.
Right. If anyone in the audience has got any good things that they want to mention, stick up your hands, I'll come to you. Just a quickie while they're thinking about that. I mean, nobody's mentioned the environment here. Is it a good thing? Have we become more conscious of the damage we're doing to the planet, and are we actually doing anything about it, or is this another, what some of you feel is the Obama moment? Yeah. Jane Shallis, come in.
Well, yes, I think people are more aware. But
are they doing anything?
No, but I think people are more cautious as well. It's a realization that, the vast proportion of the world has to live with the effects of development that Europe and North America have, been operating for the last 100+ years. And suddenly there is going to be the idea that there's going to be some sort of huge financial redistribution from the rich world to the poor world is a nonsense. It's not going to happen like that. It is not going to happen. So somewhere, all of this talk around Copenhagen, and I think lots of people feel this, is, yes, it's very worthy, and of course it's right, and yes, something should be done. But if you're really going to do something, it wouldn't just be taxing the rich until they're squeaking. It would be taxing all the huge corporations, would be doing something about the oil majors, would be making an absolutely radical change in the world, and that is not going to happen.
Well, the United States did have an environmental protection agency 50 years ago, and it has had wonderful rules about mufflers, about car driving, about the environment, long before anybody in Europe was talking about it. And also India and China and the former Soviet Union have contributed enormously to greenhouse gases. So I think that there's a lot of villains in the piece.
All right, we'll go on to another question. No, we'll go on to another question. This one's from Milad Hamidi. Milad Hamidi, your question. Yeah.
Hi. I just want to know that will our leaders help with this? Will our leaders actually help with this global recession that's happening, and will it actually stop ever, or will another one just come through again?
Have our leaders learned anything from this global financial recession? Atif Ali?
Never, and they never will. Reason being that this is the only problem where you cannot put a finger that this is the person who's responsible for this whole mess. There's no one out there is ready to accept the responsibility that yes, we did it, and we are ready to offer how we're going to rectify it. It's the first, like in my lifetime, I've seen this first this criminal act where hundreds and thousands of people's life has put on the street. Many of them have lost their jobs, their families' future has been put on stake. We have seen $2 billion up to, I think if I'm not wrong, $2 billion has been given in U.S. aid to the third world country to date, 2 trillion if I'm right. And just in the last 3-4 years, we have seen $18 trillion has been put into this new crisis. And still there is no hope in front of us that this crisis is over in the near future. So I think they will never learn, and they have never...
Anyone on the panel thinks anything has been learned from this? Carol?
Actually, I was just going to
you were
follow
going to agree
on.
with... Okay, yeah, of course you may, yeah.
Which is that one of the reasons why many Republicans voted for Obama is because in the last couple of years, many Republicans and conservatives felt that Bush was not just bringing America into financial ruin, but the world into financial ruin. And one of the things that is a fact is that Bush ignored what was going on in America with all the money being thrown around and no non-regulated subprime mortgages. Not that we were not at fault in Britain too, exactly. But that's one of the elements of this situation. But I wanted to say that actually, if we really wanted to make the world a better place financially, I have an idea. And as it's before Christmas, maybe we can be a little bit frivolous about this, because I've been ruined too.
You've been ruined?
Yes, I don't have anything left. I was ruined by all of this financial mess. A lot of people were, who invested all our lives since I was in my 20s, and everything disappeared. I think that the three people who ought to be running the world, because they seem to be squeaky clean, they're successful and solvent, are, and I hope this gets some laughs, Oprah Winfrey, Warren Buffett, and Bill Gates. And last night the Evening Standard suggested Simon Cowell and Sir Philip Green. And if you put all their money together in one big pot,
Oprah's a TV host. There's hope for us yet.
They seem to be squeaky clean.
Okay. Oprah's about to lose her TV show.
We've had an awful lot of really quite sleazy people running the world finances.
Oprah Winfrey, Bill Gates, and what was the other one? Warren Buffett.
And Warren Buffett. Well,
Warren Buffett is about 90, you know.
Well, but he's smart. He's solvent. Everything he touches turns to gold.
Jane Chalice, have you lost any money?
I haven't lost any money. I don't have any money to lose.
Is that right? Okay. So have we learned anything? Have we learned anything? You're not a pensioner. You look remarkable.
No, I am a pensioner. And it's a makeup.
Okay. Have we learned anything?
I don't think we have, except one thing. If 10 years ago, at the beginning of this decade, I'd been walking around saying to people we should nationalise the banks, everybody would have taken a huge berth around me. They'd have thought I was mad. And all of a sudden what's happened in the States and in Britain is that essentially some of these banks have been nationalised, but they don't say it.
Well, they do say it.
No, they don't say it. What they say is, the governments say, yes, we put all this money in, but actually it's the bankers who are running it. It's not us. And I think we should be saying, if we're talking about really state ownership of these banks, which maybe they should be, we should be setting up something like, say, a credit bank. the state should run its own bank, which we're going to then offer credit to people. Because that's the one thing that is quite clear that these banks are not doing.
Yes, and I never thought I'd live to see the day when I would be absolutely applauding, because you and I, we have differences on other things, but Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac were exactly that, created by Roosevelt and then a subsequent administration. That's right.
So federally run. Fannie Mae went bust, didn't it?
That's right. But Reagan deregulated. It was subsequent administrations